we want to review right now that when you want to write your 4 skills lesson plan, you need to consider all the skills because they're all integrated. Sure. Last session, we were talking about different activities you can put for while stage, for speaking and listening. Now, we have a short review on reading and writing and what kind of activity you can give to your students. So again, it goes to process part. So you put the 3 stages of teaching: pre-task activity, while task activity, and post-task activity. How you teach in the class, and what relevant homework you're going to give to your students to practice at home. Good. Even in conversation activities, you need to mention homework, because what they learn in the class, the students need to practice at home to become more fluent, accurate on the target language. So for reading, reading is receptive or productive skill. Which one? Reading a skill. Is it receptive or productive?
Receptive.
Bravo, it's receptive. So in receptive skills like listening, we are working on top-down and bottom-up process, both. Top-down process mostly refer to their comprehension part, okay? They comprehend the text. They comprehend the context. Bottom-up mostly goes to linguistic part, like new words, functions, structures, pronunciation, intonation. So we work on, but teachers need to work on both process. Also, receptive skill, intensive and extensive. Intensive readings means teaching readings in their coursebook. So in intensive reading, we work on top-down and bottom-up both. So that we work on their comprehension, how well they understand the text and how well they can talk about it or write about it. Also, they learn the new words, the new structures, and all the things referring to linguistic part. That in the process for we always start for stage pre-task. We always start with warm-up. That's right. We always start with warm-up. So we want to put the students in the context. In the context. Even you can say leading. So here you can say leading as well. Means lead the student to the new garden. Lead the students to new garden. So the context is about, for example, it's about planets, or it's about solar system. So we're going to ask about energy. And have you heard about solar system? What is solar system? Do you know anything? Can you Google it? Or planets. Do you know the name of the planets? Look at you show them a short video or poster or picture, so they have the ideas what's it about. And activate their background knowledge through elicitation. Ask them some questions about their experience, their knowledge. If the topic is brand new to the students, we ask them to Google something, or we can email them a short video about the topic, like talking about Japan. I mean, the text is about Japan and customs and dishes, for example, or culture, and they have no idea about Japan. So why not, before coming to the class, we should send them a very short video about Japan, or should send them simple text, not very complicated, a simple text about Japan, and ask them to read it or watch this video. So when they come to the class, they have some ideas. So activate their background knowledge, lead them to the context and put them in the context. Then we need to pre-teach the keywords, not all the vocabulary, but the keywords, the key vocabulary. So what do I mean by key vocabulary? It means, do you have any ideas?
Words that are relevant to the topic we're working on.
Very good.
Synonyms, synonyms.
Yes, you can teach them synonyms too. I mean, you can use different techniques to convey the meaning. That's right. Key vocabulary or keywords are the words that carry the main aim of the context. It means if they don't know the words, they won't understand the context. I gave you an example last session on listening. So I want to repeat it for the reading. The context is about how to make a strawberry jam. And students don't know the meaning of strawberry and jam. Also, there are other words that they don't know it, like chopping, adding, pouring, mixing. We give them a chance to guess the meaning of chopping, adding, pouring, mixing while they are reading the text and looking at the picture. They can guess the meaning. But for strawberry and jam, we need to pre-teach. We need to teach them very first. Because if they don't know the meaning of strawberry and jam, they won't understand anything. What is it about? Okay? So we only pre-teach the keywords, the main words that help them to understand the main message of the context. What's next? We put the topic on the board. They have brainstorming. They know right now, they know the meaning of the keywords. So it's a time to give them chance to go through the text by themselves, like thinking done, go through the text, skim the text very quickly, and get the gist of the text. So ask them to skim it and then answer general comprehension question like, what's it about? Where did it happen? Who were there? Very general question, very general comprehension question, because it's just a skimming, 3 or 4 minutes, they just go through it. They get the gist of the reading. Later, after that, when you check with your students, then you give them a chance to go through detailed questions. So they have to scan it. While scanning, they're looking for specific information. At this part, you can put the students in pairs or in groups, and they can talk together, they guess the meaning, and they discuss for the questions and the answers. The role of the teacher is monitoring. You monitor students. If they have any questions, give them prompts, help them, give them instructions, and check the meaning of the other words or the structures with your students. Maybe they need help. Maybe you have to teach them part of it. Okay? So that goes for while reading activities, because it's a time for scanning, skimming, and practicing. So it gets to while. There is a method for jigsaw reading. What is jigsaw reading? That's a very useful method for the readings that has different paragraphs. It has different paragraphs, and the paragraphs are not connected. Like this one, what is your hairstyle? So paragraph 1 is about hairstyle in Egypt, the second one in Japan, the third one in Africa, and the fourth in Europe, England. So they're all about hairstyle, but the paragraphs are separated. So in Jigsaw method, you can put the students, you see there are 4 paragraphs, so put the students in group of 4, give them chance for skimming. So they're all together, the skimming, and they understand, this text is about hairstyle in different time, in different places. Then you put them in different groups. They put them in different groups, like A, B, C, D. A for paragraph 1, B for paragraph 2, C for paragraph 3, and student D for paragraph 4. There are specific groups. So A's together, B's together, C's together, D's together. So all A students, they study paragraph 1. They talk about paragraph 1. They answer to the questions for paragraph 1. Maybe they make some questions for paragraph 1. So they're focus groups. So the focus is on paragraph 1. Student B works on paragraph 2. And their focus is on paragraph 2, talking about new words, structures, activities. Student C focus on paragraph 3, and students D focuses on paragraph 4. So they are in their focus groups. Give them time for 5 or 6 minutes, depends on the level of the students or the paragraph, the length of the paragraph. And after that, they come back to their first group. So again, they come back to the group with A, B, C, D. So student A talks about paragraph 1. Student B talks about paragraph 2. Student C talks about paragraph 3. And students D talks about paragraph 4. Good? And the other students can ask questions from paragraph 2 from student B, for example. This is Jigsaw method. And it's very useful because the students are very active, and you work on their autonomous learning. So they have the responsibility for studying, for searching, asking questions. They learn it much better because they're trying for that. So that is another method for teaching reading, but it goes to while stage. What's next? We get to post. It's the time that teacher gets the feedback. Okay, for post, you get the feedback. You can ask them to give you a summary. Yeah, it is possible. You can ask them to give you a summary. You can ask them to have a discussion or debate about the reading. They can have a role play. If the reading is about just talking 2 or 3 people, they can have a role play. They can writing a paragraph about the reading. They can interview each other for the reading. So there are different activities you can give to your students, which goes for post. So again, pre, by using different techniques, right, like visual objects or posters, videos, brainstorming, talking about the topic, pre-teach the keywords, put the students in the context. Then they have scheming, scanning, ordering the pictures, true, false questions, multiple choice, short answer, matching, and long answer, detailed questions. The students practice the context, work on top-down and bottom-up both, checking their comprehension, and also check they learn the new vocabulary, new structures, intonation of the sentences, stress words, everything, the linguistic part. And post, get the feedback. It goes for intensive reading. But for extensive reading, like storybooks, which help them so much to become more fluent, and you can here is an example for Oxford graded readers. So in this books, I mean, they're very short. These are storybooks for different levels. It's graded. So on the back cover, you see the grade of the book. So maybe it's A1, A2, B1, B2, or C1, C2. But when you introduce the storybooks to your students, don't ask all of them to read one book, because extensive should be based on their interest and they enjoy reading it. So it's good to introduce 3 books in 3 genres. One is, for example, drama, the other is criminal, and the other is, for example, detective or sci-fi. Okay, so different genres. And they said, okay, you can choose one of these books and read it, but how you work on it, there you go. So you need to work on their curiosity and motivation. So you can show them different books, different genres in the same level. And so which one do you like more? You look at the cover. Can you guess what's going on? Who are they? Where are they? What's happening? So ask them about the cover. Then said, who's going to read this book? And maybe 2 or 3 students on. So please read it for next session, just the first 5 pages, and let us know who are the characters and what's it about. So you only work on top-down comprehension, but we never ask them to look up all the words or asking them the new vocabulary. No, it's just reading to give them more chance for more exposure to the language, you know. And the book should be easier, 1 step easier than the level. Because if it is difficult, they won't understand it, and it's really boring if they want to look up all the words, okay, in a dictionary. So they get frustrated, they won't read it. So just 1 level easier. So in this case, when they read it, they enjoy the text. So that is extensive reading. Okay, guys, do you have any questions for reading part? Okay, thank you very much. Now, what about writing? So again, we have pre, while, post. So for pre, maybe during reading, doing the reading skills or listening skills, you already put the students, you've already put the students in the context. I mean, the students are familiar with the context because it's, as we said, it's integrated skills and it happens all in one class. Okay, so already students are in the context. If so, you start with your presentation. For example, it's about writing a paragraph or writing a story or writing sentences. So you start to give them a motto. Good. That was here. You give them a motto. What are you talking about? Then put them in groups and give them a topic. Based on the model, start to write and help them to write in the groups or in pairs, which goes to wide writing task. In post writing, it's the time that students swap their writings to the next group or next pairs, and they give them, they give their other group their comments, okay, or recommendations. How can they improve their writing? There could be different kinds of activities like copying, gap filling, reordering. They're all writing. Guided writing or creative writing or essay writing, postcards, letter writing, emails, invitations, messages, text messages. They're all working on writing. Good. But in writing, there are some sub-skills which are very important. Spelling, format, punctuation, correct layout, proper vocabulary. So as we said, it register. If it is formal, so formal vocabulary. If it is friendly, informal, they can use like phrasal verbs and idiom chunks, different chunks. Correct grammar. How to join sentences, not simple sentences. They need to link sentences. And how to order paragraphs. So in presentation part, the teacher needs to explain everything, or they can have a model and analyze it together. Analyze it together so students understand the format, the paragraph, the order of the paragraphs, and how they can use cohesive devices or linking words to link the sentences. So here is an example of control. Okay, look, here is an example of control writing. So they just learn how to write the letters, and there should be space between the words. I want to go home, so they just copy. Then in next, they have to correct it. So you're working on capitalization, how to use capital words at the beginning of the sentence, and punctuation. I went to my friend's place yesterday, so there should be a period. Her name is Kimi, so capital H. This is another format. These are different activities for while stage. Even you can ask them to rewrite it again. So they need to put space between the words. And punctuation, of course. Or unscramble, like you're working on a spelling. The first is rabbit or elephant, snake or monkey. So you're working on spelling. This is kind of exercise working on spelling. Even here, working on or practicing the grammar part. So you ask them to read it and write the correct form of the verb, which you can see in parentheses. So they need to understand the context and then fill in the blanks with the correct tense. Even here, this is kind of mix of creative and guided. So you show them a picture and said, okay, look at this picture. Here are the words: house, chimney, door, window, stone, trees. You can use the words and write sentences about this picture. So you help them to write. But this one is more creative. So look at this picture and write the story. For lower level, you can ask them for each picture, write 1 or 2 sentences. But for example, B1 intermediate level, from intermediate level, you said, okay, you can even give them as an assignment and say, okay, I want you to look at this picture and write the story in 2 paragraphs. So it's creative. Students going to write in different stories. Or even you can make it more creative. I want you to draw something for your friend, anything. Then email it to your friend, and your friend needs to write something about your picture. So here, even they can explain what can they see in the picture. For lower level, for intermediate above, they can write a story for the picture. Okay, it's fun to draw something for their friends, and it's very creative. Even you can give them some hints for writing. How was your last vacation? But I don't have any ideas. What should I write? I cannot write 2 or 3 paragraphs. So say, okay, you can write about the place you went, time, when did you go, who did you go with, how was it, how was the climate, what talking about the places you visited. Okay, so you can give them some hints to write. What do I have in my room? So you can take a picture of your room, your favorite room, It could be any rooms in your house that you like most, and write about it. What do you have? So it's all the purpose of all these activities, just motivate your students to write. When you say to write about your favorite room, so they like to talk about it. But if you force them write about your classroom, maybe they don't like it. So let's make it a bit fun, interesting, and creative for the students. But why they want to write what they're writing for, like essay. There's some stages for high level, upper intermediate, C1 or C2, so advanced level. They have brainstorming, okay? Brainstorming about the topic. Then they put the ideas. You can put them in groups or in pairs and give them a topic. So they have brainstorming and write the all ideas. Then they go through the ideas and cross out some of them because the words are limited. Like they have to write 500 or 700 or 250 words or 100 words. So they cross out some of the ideas. Then they think how they can join the ideas and how they can put the paragraphs for introduction, main body, and conclusion. So they write the first draft, okay? They review it, edit it. They can even swap their writings and give comments to the other groups, and then publish it. But the important thing is, so post is a part that they hand it to the teacher. So here's another example, like giving them a picture and so write the story of this. But how do you check and how do you give feedback to your students? You can use quotes. You can use quotes. Just writing the correct form, underline it and writing the correct form. Does that help your students to learn? Because many of them just get their assignment back and put it aside. What we want, we teachers want to give our students a chance for think twice and try to find the correct form. Okay? So you can give them quotes. Like here's an example. WW means wrong word. WO means mistaken word order. SP means spelling mistakes. Wrong verbs, wrong tense, wrong punctuation. Too many words. It's unclear. Okay? Or word missing. Like this one. Like this one. So when you say wrong word, say as our plane flew on the mountains, we saw snow. It's not, that's the wrong word. It's over the mountains. Or wrong time. We see now. So no, it's past tense, wrong tense. So you just give them codes and underline and give them codes. Return their assignment and so look at the codes and correct your writing by yourself. Rewrite it and hand it again. So here you give them a chance to practice more, think about it, and they can learn. They can learn while they're writing again according to the codes. But you need to give them the instructions for the codes. So what these codes mean to them. They write it again and hand it to their teacher. And this time, and for the second time, if it's still any mistakes or errors, you need to write and give them extra practice and exercises based on the mistakes. You can get good ideas from this app, Pinterest. There are very good worksheets on writing. So I have this in mind, Pinterest. You can download it. Many of the worksheets, it's free to download. And you can find very good ideas for writing. So for your lesson plan, as you know, the title, number of the students, level of the, so this lesson plan for 4 skills. For what level? And what is the age? You can say adults if it's for adults. But for teenagers or children, we need to mention. Right now, you're writing for adults, so just write adults. But what about the professions? Are there housewives? Are there clerks, students, university students? What about their interests? It's referred to the activities. It's important because it means you consider their interests in designing activities for them. What about the first language and cultural background? Time, how long is this class? Is it 1 hour, 2 hours, it's 90 minutes? And where is it? Is it online, on-site, school, institute? Here, the material used, you need to mention all the materials that you need for teaching this lesson plan, including board markers, boards, realias, posters, videos, everything. And in appendix, you need to attach the worksheets and quizzes and links, video links, posters, flashcards, everything. Introduction, how do you start your class? That's the leading part. How do you put your students in the context? Then terminal objective, what happened at the end of the session? Student will be able to do what? Enabling objectives. To get to that terminal objectives, what do you need to teach? You need to work on, for example, speaking, listening, reading, writing, or you need to work on listening, speaking in one session, reading, writing in another session, maybe. And what are the lists of the new words? What structure you practice? How do you work on pronunciation and intonation? How do you work on functions? So you mentioned all of them. Then you get to process. Okay, so pre, while, post for each skill. And assignment. So how, it's not only the workbook. Maybe you ask them to do the workbook in the class. It depends on you because it's workbook, it's not homework. Okay. So what is their homework? Based on what they have learned in the class, you give them homework to practice at home. Okay. So you need to mention homework in assignment part. Okay. Thank you. So it's time for your questions. Do you have any questions right now? Go ahead. Please.